Welcome back to the rest of the story, and I'm actually going to go ahead and plow some snow with this JCB. It's the first snow that I've had to move this year, this season, and the first snow that I've moved with the JCB. And this machine does a really nice job of it. The first thing, the biggest thing we've been told, is to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings, especially when you're using a tracked machine. I mean, not just the JCB, but just a tracked machine in general. Can get away from you on ice and slick ground. Didn't really have that issue here. I lost traction when I was trying to push a lot of snow coming back up my driveway, but just picked up the bucket a little bit and took less of a bite, and I went right on. When I took it right down to the ice layer that is underneath here, you could feel it that it was having to dig just a little bit, but I really didn't have any situations where I completely broke traction and I was sliding backwards or sideways or anything else like that. So it does a really good job. I mean, we all know that it does a great job pushing dirt, snow, cars, stuff, bales and stuff around. But I don't know, it's with the weather we're having right now, it's the first real winter weather we've had this year. Drifting snow, I mean, below zero temperatures, and the wind is actually pretty nasty. I was really not planning on doing much plowing today, and the way the wind was going up at Rockville, it was already drifting in what my dad had plowed in earlier that day. But down at my place, it seems like I get just enough. I don't know if it's just because we're low enough that the wind really doesn't bother my driveway as much. The worst spot I have in my place is actually right where it's sitting right now. It's right in front of my garage, and the wind likes to blow the snow off the garage roof, and it gets kind of like a swirling action. And then I'll get a big drift from on the right side of the screen from the doorway of the machine shed, and under the right conditions I'll have a drift from the front of the machine shed all the way down to the front door of my house. Back in, I want to say 2013, I'm pretty sure it was after the drought, I had like a 4-foot deep drift. Yeah, it was 2013. Yes, it was. I had a 4-foot deep drift that whole length of the yard in front of my place, and it took the 7400 and we actually had a Rhino blade and the bucket on the front, the loader, and about 3 hours to really get my place cleaned up and everything pushed back where you could get around again. We haven't had as much snow or a significant amount of snow like that in a while. This past year, 2019, we were getting 10 inches or so every like 3 or 4 days. But I only had to bring a skid steer down once to really push the snow back. Otherwise, I was getting away with using the 76 and just a blade. So maybe I should just consider myself lucky there. The cows need to be fed, and you can see we already fed the cows down here. Later on this video, we were feeding out at my brother's place, but it's the middle of January. You can't avoid winter weather. I mean, I don't like the snow and the cold. I would rather be productive all year long, and yes, you can be productive even in weather like this. Don't get me wrong, don't misunderstand me, but what I mean by being productive, I'm thinking of making fences, checking cattle, making crops, making hay. Just there's so much more going on 3/4 of the year that when you get into the 1/4 of the year, I'd say January through March, or even December through February, because even March things can start picking up if we have an early spring, where everything's just slow. It's the time of the year where you're really not making any money. January is just absolutely terrible to me because all it is paperwork and inputs, and it seems like you're really not bringing in any money in. I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually have money that is owed to me that I'm waiting to come in, but it just doesn't seem like you're as productive as you are the rest of the year. I mean, throughout the summer, throughout the fall, it just seems like you're a lot busier. We are going to have more cattle around here. Hey, you can see I'm slipping a little bit there. We are going to have even more cattle around here this year. Granted, not just a huge amount, but the cattle I'm going to be buying here, probably not going to be doing anything in January yet. I was really thinking about going to that sale on the 25th up at Bloomington. I may yet, but my problem is with the current feed situation, I know we could get through without having to worry about running short on hay, but it would be tight. And I'm thinking it's probably a safer bet to at least buy as many as I'm planning on buying. I mean, granted, it's only like 10 to 15, depending on how much money I'm going to throw at it directly out of my pocket. And I think it makes more sense to wait till February, because there's a sale at the end of February I'm planning on going to. Plus, there is that Red Angus, the Red Fest sale in April that I probably won't plan on buying anything. But I like red cattle. I like Red Angus, and I've never been to a all red sale before, so I think it might just be kind of fun. And to address quick what we're doing here, it makes it a lot simpler to take the net wrap off the bales if you're able to work together and have somebody raise and lower the bale for you to pull a net wrap out. Ryan is being careful to make sure that he's not getting underneath the bale, so he's not at too much of a risk for getting hurt. But we got to definitely feed everybody pretty heavily here, especially when they're calling for 25 degrees below zero tonight, and everybody's going through a little bit more feed than they were here just even a few days ago. But the JCB seems to conquer the elements pretty well. And this is pretty much what it looked like tonight when I came home.